Thanks very much. Thank you. Good afternoon, everybody. I hope you had a good lunch. And just bear in mind, this is the toughest session of the afternoon. Okay, you know when your stomach's full and it's sort of you've got this weight on your eyelids and it starts to pull your eyelids down. So I'm going to do my best to try and keep you inspired and keep you awake. But the most important thing I need to do is I always start off wearing a jacket because, you know, out of respect to you guys, and my mother always said that's the right thing to do. So I've done that. Can I take it off now? Respect's done. Okay, so what I want to first of all do is I just want to try and get to know everybody in the room. And the easiest way to do that is just to ask you to do something for me. Is have a look at those shapes on the projector. There's a square, circle, a triangle, and a squiggly shape. And now have a look at those shapes and choose one that resonates the most with you, that you think, that's my shape. Okay? Circles. How many? Show of hands. Any circles? No circles. Circles. Yeah? Thank you. Circles are people who don't like corners, they don't like boundaries. Generally a very ill-disciplined bunch of people. Circle, right? and then triangles. In triangles, oh, triangles. Let me tell you about triangles. Okay, they are the most ruthlessly driven people. They will do anything to climb to the top of the corporate ladder. Get their business cards. and squares. Any squares in the room? Squares. Those are your accountants. They like boundaries, they like borders, they like the circles. Get yourself a square. You need one desperately. And any squiggly shapes? Oh, no. Squiggly shapes, don't put your hand up. Squiggly shapes, I could never embarrass you. Okay, I wouldn't want to embarrass you by telling people what. Squiggly shapes are only interested in booze and sex. Anyone in the room want to change to become a squiggly shape? Okay, that's great. That gives me a great idea who's in the room. But believe it or not, it's actually true. These shapes actually really do indicate a lot about you. Yeah, is there something you're hiding from us? What I want us to do today is I want us to go through something related to the power of positive thinking. Because, amazingly, if you think something, eventually it transpires and it turns into your reality. Okay, because if we, let's just, I want to be a little bit technical, just if you'll give me a second to be a bit technical, okay? What happens is, we think a thought. Our thoughts become our expectations. Our expectations drive our creative capacity, and our creative capacity turns into our reality. So if you're like the average person, and you're thinking negative thoughts, you know when you're driving down the highway, and you see the most magnificent sunset on the side, how often do you see a traffic jam? Never. But let somebody have a puncture and be stopped in the third lane on the other side of the highway. Okay? Both sides of the highway come to a grinding halt. Why? Why? Because we like to see negative. We see someone's got a puncture, so what do? We rub a neck until we find out what's going down. What's happening over there? The sunset? Who cares? Pretty. So what is that saying about what we're doing with our lives? We're thinking negative thoughts. Our negative thoughts are turning into our negative expectations. Our negative expectations are driving our creative expectancy. And out's coming a reality that we don't actually want. So that's what I want to do today. Is I want to highlight possibility. I want to show you what's possible. I want to show you that by changing the way you think about things, the things you think about will change. And let me just give you this. if you have a look at your life, things happen. 2 kids on a roller coaster ride. One kid is an absolute adrenaline junkie. The other one is terrified out of his brain by the thought of going on a ride. The roller coaster goes and it does its thing. One kid gets off and he is ecstatic. The other kid can barely walk. Okay? Was it the same experience?
No.
They created the experience in their mind. You can change your life with a single thought. You can decide I'm going to do things differently. You can decide I'm going to see things differently. I want to give you a different perspective right now. All of us look at our lives and we go, you know what? I hate my job. I detest my life. And all I do is I spend as much time doing what I can do so that I can get 3 weeks holiday to go and do what I love doing. Huh? It's a great life, okay? I'm spending the rest of the year doing stuff that's making me unhappy. So I can have 3 weeks off to go and be happy. It's a great option. That's brilliant. I mean, doesn't it make sense to you? Of course it makes sense. I mean, hello. Why do we see that? Have a look over at that flip chart. We look at our lives and we see everything in our lives as being in our way. So we wake up on a Monday morning, and you know there's an amazing thing that happens on a Monday morning. It's true. You know that people's hearts attack them and they die at one time during the week. Do you know what that time is? 9:30 on a Monday morning. Because they hate their lives so much that they let their hearts attack them. I mean, come on, that's ridiculous. Your own heart attacks you because you hate your life so much. Why is that? Because everything is in your way. I sit there on Sunday and I go, this job is in my way. I hate it. How am I going to get through Monday? How am I going to get through the week so I can get to Friday, go to happy hour, do absolutely nothing for the weekend, get drunk out of my mind, lie in front of the television, wake up on Sunday and say, I hate my life. But what did I do? I did nothing. I went to happy hour on Friday. I was drunk on Saturday. Sunday I watched Days of Our Wives. And then Monday comes and I hate my life. Come on, guys. If you want things to change, you need to change. Because, you know what, we may not like our president. We may not like interest rates. We may think the economy is taking a huge tank at the moment. But what can we as individuals do about that? Very little. But what do we have 100% control of? Our attitude. Our lives. The way we look at things. So we're no longer going to leave here today thinking my job is in my way. Everything is in my way. And how am I going to get through my week? We're going to look at the same job. We're going to look at the same life, the same relationships, the same set of health, the same set of finances. And we're going to see them as being on our way. On our way to the future that we want to create. Because we're going to leave here with a crystal clear picture of what we want in our future. And once you have that crystal clear picture, as Henry Ford said, you only see obstacles in your path when you take your eyes off your goal, off your dream, off your vision. So let's leave here today with a vision. Let's leave here today with a belief, a new attitude, a new way of looking at things, that nothing is in our way ever again. Everything is on our way. And when everything is on our way, we get from it. We get from our job. We get from every experience that we experience in our life. And as long as you're getting from something, how can you allow your heart to attack you? How can you be stressed? You can't. So I want you to just make that shift. If you only make one shift today, if you only change one thing, because ultimately I can stand up here and I can give you a whole lot of ideas, concepts, tools, techniques. They're useless if you're not going to bring them into your life and you're going to use them. On Monday I was speaking to, I don't know, it was about 100 psychiatrists, psychologists, all people in the industry that works looking at our brains and why they work and why they don't work. And I mean, I don't have medical training, but I was standing talking to these people. And the scariest thing was, I looked at them when I started talking and I said, do you know what messes with the mind? And I could see them sit on the front of their chairs and go, yes, Andrew, what messes with the mind? and I told them, and you know what it is? It's not living your full potential. So if you prepared to look at your self-imposed comfort zone, which is this, and you say, and I want you to carefully listen to what I said. I never said, this is what you're capable of, guys. I said, this is your self-imposed comfort zone. And I want you to think about the amazing, unique, incredible person that's sitting around this table at the moment. There is not another single person that sits on this planet just like you. That person has this potential. But this is what you're telling yourself you're capable of. There was an amazing woman. She was 63 years of age. Maury Payton. She was driving one of these self-drive lawnmowers, driving it along the lawn, and it pulled out of her hands and the accelerator got stuck. And it wasn't a big deal, it was just going across the lawn, and she was 63, so she was walking after the lawnmower to go and stop it. And her little granddaughter thought, little Alfie, thought, I'll stop it for you, Granny. He ran in front of the lawnmower and tried to stop it. Got bumped over and the lawnmower was about to go over. This 63-year-old grandmother covered 10 paces, grabbed hold of that lawnmower, tossed it out the way, 300 pounds of lawnmower, like it was a piece of plastic. She can do that. The next morning she got up. What had changed? The reason she needed to do it was gone. She now didn't believe any longer that she could do it. She couldn't move that lawnmower. Self-imposed comfort zone. That is what she was capable of. She could grab a 300-pound lawnmower and toss it out the way like it wasn't even there. But she told herself the next morning that she couldn't. So she couldn't. Whether you think you can or think you can't, either way, you're right. There was a lady standing inside her kitchen. And she heard the scream coming out from outside. And she ran outside. And her son was working underneath a 1964 Chevrolet Impala. You guys know how big that car is? I mean, that thing is it's massive. And in 64, they used to build cars. Those things were big. Huge. No, that was a car. Her son was trapped underneath the car. They'd fallen off the jacks. Angela Cavallo reached down, grabbed hold of the car and lifted it off her son and held it off her son for 5 minutes. The Olympic world record for the deadlift for women, trained athletes, 502.6 pounds. They estimate that Angela held 1,200 pounds of her child for 5 minutes. What are we capable of achieving? In the past, we used to say, you know what, Andrew, when I see it, buddy, then I'll believe it. But I'm challenging you today, and I'm saying, when you start to believe it, when you start to change your attitude, when you start to see everything as being on your way, when you get from every single experience, you look to grow, to become, you attract success by the person you become. So as you become more, so you will attract more. As you attract more, your life changes and evolves and becomes the life of your dreams. Why not you? Why do you have to have a huge catastrophe like your son being caught underneath the car for you to lift that car off him? Can you not achieve? Have you believe? incredible things for yourself. How much time do you think Donald Trump has in a day? More than you? Richard Branson? Mother Teresa? Nelson Mandela? Why have they managed to achieve such amazing things with 24 hours in a day? I'm asking you to be the best version of yourself. Not the best. I'm not saying I want to issue trophies and I want Sharon to be the best person she could, you have to be number one. In fact, driving on the way here, let me tell you about number one. Driving on the way, the taxi drivers, we've given them a bad rap. We hate the way they drive. They're like lunatics all over the road. And let me tell you something. I had a great experience with one coming on the way here. Driving down the highway just before I was about to take the turning to Paris, taxi driver wanted to come and pull in front of me. And I was, on the way here. I was going to get lost if I moved out the way. So I just kept going. And he knew that I was coming here to work with you guys. Because he stuck his finger out. He didn't use this finger, but he had a finger up, and he was going, you're number one. In fact, all the people at the Johannesburg Road, they're number one too. You know what I'm saying? So he knew that I was coming here. He knew you guys were number one. Fantastic. So let's stop criticizing our taxi drivers, okay? They are perceptive and they do understand. I think it hurt this finger. So very important that we keep focused and believing. When you believe it, you can achieve it. And that's the one thing I want you to take away. Is I want you to start changing what you believe. When you change what you believe, your whole life will change for you. A number of years ago, there was a little boy who used to live in Primrose. He used to stand on the pavement and watch the expensive cars go shooting past. And he watched those cars because they were going to his life. And then while he was standing there, a man would arrive in a big truck with a clipboard with a pink piece of paper on it. And this man would stand at the door, and the workers would go in and out the door and take all the furniture out the house. And he'd mark off on his clipboard, and furniture would leave, and they'd be left with an empty house. And it wasn't just an empty house, it was an empty belly. And that little boy used to stand there and think, well, let's hope the DeWitts are going to be kind tonight. And they're going to have a little bit of extra food and they're going to share it with us tonight so we can have some food too. And while he was standing there, he believed in the future. He didn't see the challenge that was facing him at the time. He focused on a future, on a picture. He saw the house that he wanted to live in. He could see the car he was going to drive. He could see the life he was going to live, the businesses he was going to own, the life he was going to lead. And so he didn't focus on what was, he focused on what could be. And that little boy is standing in the room right now. And so if I could, starting from humble beginnings, we used to share meals with the neighbors. We used to live in an empty house. The only reason we had a roof over our head was because the home belonged to my grandparents. What about you? We all look at Benoni and we go, you know what, the people in Benoni, I mean, come on, count your fingers, count your toes. Okay, I've got a factory there, so I know. but let's have a look at that. Charlize Theron, she did good. And you okay, Charlize hasn't done as well. And Charlize would definitely not look that good in the yellow. And of course, then there was another little one, Charlene. She married a prince and all. But you know what? Your beginnings, where you are, is just where you are. It's the starting point. You have an amazing amount of experience inside you right now. Do you know the average life expectancy at the turn of the century was 45? Today, 78, 90. You, if you're 45, have another 45 years to live. The difference is, when you arrived on this planet in the year 1900, you were pink, wrinkled, terrified, and knew nothing. Or brown, pinkled, wrinkled, and terrified. I was pink, okay, others might not have been. But you were still terrified, okay? So there you were, knew nothing. Here you are now. 45, 35. You have a lifetime of experience, of mistakes, of challenges, of things that you've dealt with. You are prepared for the next 45. The thoughts you're going to think, the actions you're going to take, the words you're going to speak, the books you're going to read, the skills you're going to learn are going to determine where your life will go. 5 years from now, you're going to arrive somewhere. My question to you is, where? Are you going to go to one of these crystal ball gazing ladies and let her have a look in the thing and go, and tell you where you're going? Are you going to sit underneath the pyramid and chant and go, if I do and dance and a chant and I'll get where I want to go? Really? Or are you just going to get a picture, crystal clear picture in your mind of exactly what you want? And with dogged determination, you're going to wake up every single day and take almost insignificant little actions every day that are slowly but surely going to move you in the direction of your success, of that dream, of that picture that you have in your mind. Or are you just going to be like a paper cup that's going to blow in a car park? Who knows where it's going to go? It may go left, it may go right. Where's your life going? Where are you taking your life?